Jin rubbed his temples. This is torture. I'm not confirming anything, I said with a grin. But I'm not denying anything either. Sub buried his face in his tray. Glyph looked like he wanted to shake me. Jin muttered, unbelievable. When I got back to the lab, Dev was waiting near the door, jacket already on. Ready? She asked lightly. I nodded, grabbing my things. As we walked out together, Sub shouted after us, Wait, come on. Dev didn't even glance back. She just slipped her arm into mine and whispered, perfect execution. I laughed under my breath as we headed out into the sunlight. Time for launch. We walked down the street together, Sub's dramatic groan still echoing in my head. Dev looked far too pleased with herself. The corners of her mouth curved in triumph. You, I said, shaking my head, are dangerous. I told you, she replied smoothly. They deserved it. Did you see Sub's face? Priceless. Pretty sure he won't sleep for a week, I said, chuckling. And Glyph, he looked like he was about to have a system crash. Dev laughed, the sound lighter than I was used to hearing from her in the lab. That was fun. We should do it again. Prank the guys every Monday? I teased. I'll need hazard pay. She nudged me with her shoulder. Deal. The Italian cafe on the corner was quiet, warm, filled with the smell of garlic and bread. We slid into a booth, ordered quickly, and once the waiter left, the mood shifted a little. The smirk on Dev's face softened, replaced by something more thoughtful. You really played it well, she said, resting her chin on her hand. Didn't give them an inch. Hey, I just followed your lead, I said. Then, after a pause, you look good today, by the way. Really good. Her cheeks warmed, just faintly. Thanks. I thought it might help sell the prank. Sure, I said, smiling. But you didn't have to sell it that hard. She rolled her eyes, but there was no bite to it. Careful, you're straying into compliment territory again. Maybe I want to, I said simply. That left her quiet for a moment. She fiddled with her fork, then let out a small laugh. This was supposed to be just about pranking them. It can be both, I said. Her eyes met mine, curious, almost searching. The silence between us wasn't awkward, it was charged. When the food came, the moment lightened again. We teased each other over pasta portions, joked about Titan and Ace adopting her into their friend group, and laughed about Sub writing conspiracy theories in his notebook about us. But beneath the joking, the warmth lingered. A shift, a spark, something unspoken hanging in the air. As we walked back to the lab later, Dev glanced at me and said, almost too softly to hear, You really are trouble. And for the first time, I felt she meant it as a warning for herself. When we returned from lunch, Sub was practically pressed against the glass wall, watching us walk in. Glyph and Jin were huddled nearby, whispering like it was some kind of military briefing. As soon as we crossed the threshold, Sub pointed a finger at me. No. You don't just stroll back in here, arm in arm like that after lunch. I demand answers. I hung my jacket up, cool as ever. We had pasta. Sub threw his hands in the air. That's not an answer. Jin pinched the bridge of his nose. Seriously, Tester. This is killing productivity. Then stop thinking about it, Dev said evenly, sitting at her desk and pulling her hair back into a ponytail. Her voice was calm, but her eyes sparkled with amusement. Glyph spun in his chair toward me. Okay, at least give me one detail. Just one. Anything. I pretended to think, tapping my chin. All right, I'll give you something. They all leaned forward. Dev arched a brow, lips twitching like she was holding back laughter. We split the check. The collective groan nearly shook the lab. Sub buried his face in his hands. Glyph collapsed against his desk, and Jin muttered something about losing his sanity. Dev smirked, whispering just loud enough for me to hear. Perfect. As the guys kept side-eyeing us, Dev and I quietly carried on with actual work. She leaned over my shoulder to check some debug footage, her hair brushing my arm. You're enjoying this way too much, I murmured. She smirked. You're not. Maybe a little. Her tone softened, almost slipping past the game. It's kind of nice, though, them seeing us as a team. That caught me off guard. I glanced at her, but she was already turning back to her screen, pretending not to have said it. Sub scribbled on a notepad furiously. Okay, scenario 1, they just had dinner. Scenario 2, dinner plus. Scenario 3, don't say it. Glyph cut in, looking pained. Jin sighed heavily. This is going to spiral out of control. We're not going to get a straight answer, are we? Sub snapped his pencil in half. Not until I cracked them. Dev and I shared a look across the lab, and for once, we didn't even need words. The prank had gone from a single shot to a full-on campaign. The clock ticked toward 5, and productivity had hit rock bottom. Sub hadn't written a single line of code in hours, just wild theories. Glyph had practically worn a groove in his desk from spinning in his chair. Jen looked like he was nursing a migraine. Dev finally sighed, stood up, and clapped her hands once. All right, enough. Everybody listen up. 3 weary, suspicious faces turned her way. We need to clear the air, she said, shooting me a quick look. This morning, we were messing with you. The groans that followed were monumental. I knew it, Sub shouted, throwing his notepad down. I knew it was too clean to be true. Jin leaned back in his chair, letting out a long breath. Thank God. Maybe I can actually get some work done tomorrow. Glyph flopped against his desk like he'd just been freed from prison. You too are evil. I chuckled, standing and slinging my bag over my shoulder. All right, prank's over. You guys can relax. A beat of relief settled over the room, and then I turned to Dev, stepped close, and kissed her. Not just a peck, not a joke, an unapologetically real kiss. When I pulled back, her caramel complexion was flushed a deep, undeniable red. She blinked, stunned. Lips parted slightly like her brain was trying to reboot. The lab froze. Sub's mouth fell open. Glyph's chair spun halfway around as if he wanted to vanish. Jin dropped his pen. Wait, what? Sub shouted. Good night, fellas, I said smoothly, grabbing the rest of my things and heading for the door. Behind me, I heard Dev snap her laptop shut, mutter a quick, see you tomorrow, and hurry after me. The last thing I caught as the door closed was Sub's strangled yell echoing through the lab. Are you kidding me? The door clicked shut behind us, muting Sub's outraged shouting. Evening had settled over the parking lot, the air cooler, quieter. For the first time all day, it was just the two of us. Dev walked beside me, silent. Her heels tapped softly on the pavement, her bag clutched tight against her side. I could still see the red in her cheeks, even in the dim light. I shoved my hands in my pockets, glancing at her. You okay? She exhaled a sharp laugh, shaking her head. You're insane. Maybe I admit it, but worth it. Her eyes flicked toward me, a storm of emotions in them, shock, maybe irritation, but underneath, something else. She looked away quickly, focusing on her car across the lot. We walked a few more steps in silence, the kind that wasn't empty, but heavy, buzzing. Finally, Dev stopped halfway to her car, turning to face me. You realize you just detonated a nuclear bomb in there, right? I grinned. Yeah, but it felt like the right move. Her lips parted like she wanted to argue, but instead she pressed them together, cheeks burning all over again. She muttered, almost to herself, I can't believe you. But she didn't sound angry. Not really. I stopped too, just watching her. The lot lights caught in her hair, in her eyes. So I said, voice lower now, tell me, was it really that bad? She froze, then glanced at me again. This time she didn't look away. No, she said softly. The silence that followed was charged enough to bend steel. Finally, she shook her head, smiling in spite of herself. You really don't play fair. Neither do you, I shot back. We both stood there, suspended in that moment, like the prank had burned away, leaving something raw and real underneath. I reached her car, holding the door open. Dev hesitated a fraction before sliding in, still flushed from earlier. I waited a beat, letting her settle, then leaned slightly closer. You're shivering, I said softly, reaching over to brush a strand of hair from her face. She shook her head, trying to smile, but the smile faltered. I don't know what to say. I knelt slightly, so I was level with her. You don't have to say anything yet. I just need to ask. Her brow furrowed, confusion in her eyes. Can we make this official? My voice was steady, but my heart raced. What we have, I mean this. I like you, Dev. I've liked you for a while, and I'd like more. Her eyes widened, and I saw the flicker of disbelief. She blinked rapidly, as if trying to convince herself she wasn't hearing this. And then a single tear slipped down her cheek. I reached out, brushing it away gently. "Hey," I whispered. "It's okay. I see you. I see all of you. The smart, incredible coder, the fierce developer, the amazing person you are." She swallowed hard, voice trembling. I didn't think anyone could ever. Ever what? I asked softly, leaning just a little closer. "Ever want me like this? For me?" I smiled warmly. "I do. I want you. All of you. Size, quirks, humor, brilliance. I like you. Dare I say, I love you." She hiccuped a laugh that quickly turned into a soft sob. I reached over and took her hand, squeezing it reassuringly. "It's real, Dev. All of it. You don't have to doubt it. Not anymore." Her eyes glistened, and she wiped at her cheeks with the back of her hand. For a moment, we just sat there in quiet connection, the hum of the parking lot fading behind us. I can't believe this," she murmured. "You should believe it," I said gently. "Because it's true, and I'm not going anywhere." She gave a shaky laugh, leaning a little closer, resting her head against my shoulder. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, let's do this. Officially." I smiled, brushing her hair back once more, feeling the weight of everything, the prank, the teasing, the tension, melt away, leaving only this moment, just us and the start of something real.